Many things, of course, about the wonderful Platinum Jubilee that really sparked a lot of happiness around the world. I don't know about you ladies, but I did really feel sorry for Catherine in that royal box when Prince Louis was playing up, you know, pulling faces at her, trying to tell her to shush, playing with her hair. And you know, you could cringe, couldn't you? Because she's thinking, not now, the world's looking at me. She's probably wondering whether he smudged her lipstick, got something in her hair, all the usual stuff, you know. But of course you can't control 4-year-old children, can you? They don't care where they are. After all, he's Prince Louis, possibly can do what he wants. I think they're all very well behaved, but of course he seemed a bit energetic, didn't he? But then of course the focus moved on to the final appearance of the Platinum Jubilee of this lady. Let's be honest, there can't have really been a dry eye in the house, can they, when Her Majesty the Queen made a very final appearance on the balcony, dressed all in green, and of course standing next to the future of the monarchy, Prince Charles, William and George. It was a moving picture, and you know, whatever you think when you're watching things like that, it's a moment in history, you know. People will look back at that moment, that picture, that video footage and say, I was there, or I wonder what it was like. You know, very similar to what we do with people like Queen Victoria or King George, stuff like that. It's amazing when you think about it. But of course there was one adoring picture that I think we all truly enjoyed, and that was the absolute look of adoration, love and kind of like bewilderment from His Royal Highness Prince George looking towards the Queen. A good source tells me that when Prince George got inside, he gave Her Majesty a huge hug. He said he was very proud of her and loved her naturally, which was very sweet. But apparently then he got a little bit teary, and the emotion of it all, I think really, you know, you have to remember that this is a boy who was only 8 years old, soon to be 9, and the realization and the little bits, of course, that they drip feed young royals about their lives must have come home to them in a mega splash over this 4-day celebration. Because you know, when you look at Princess Charlotte, she seems to take it all in a stride, doesn't she? Not a problem for her. But I think Prince George sitting there, particularly in the carriage, you know, in the Troop in the Colour carriage, I think he thought, wow, what is all this about? Who am I? You know, that sort of thing. You know, of course, that he has a very special relationship with Her Majesty the Queen, and when the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge are at Windsor, he goes to spend a considerable amount of time with her at Windsor, and they have long chats, particularly on a Sunday afternoon. This is what's called training. It basically happened to Prince William too. It's all about a very slow introduction to really their family history, what happens and what's going to be expected of them. Nothing too overwhelming, of course, but then, you know, they are prepared for this, as William has been. And when you look at Prince William speaking now, doesn't he look Kingsman-like, you know, very assured, very polished? This is what's going to be happening, of course, to Prince George. It's nice, of course, for Prince George to find out that the lady that he's standing next to is, of course, adoring relative, the Queen, Our Gracious Majesty the Queen, Queen Elizabeth II, whatever you want to call her. He realised at that point, I believe, that she is something incredibly powerful, perhaps, as we already know ourselves, the most famous woman in the world. And I truly believe that's why he was, shall we say, overcome with emotion. But what a sweet young man to think that. And more importantly, if you had any doubts as to how loving, caring and sharing the British monarchy is, you can't keep it away from children. And everything that we thought was right there in Prince George's eyes, adoringly back at, of course, Our Gracious Majesty the Queen. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.